In the 1960s and 70s, thousands of young Westerners traveled to India, searching for an escape from modern materialism and hoping to find a source of genuine spiritual clarity. Many of these travelers brought a habit with them from home. They were using high doses of psychedelics, believing that LSD provided a valid shortcut to mystical experiences. One of those seekers was an American named Ram Dass. He was consuming an incredible amount of LSD, dropping 2 to 3 hits a day, in an attempt to reach a state of bliss that he could never quite sustain. He, like much of his generation, had fallen into a distinct trap. They were mistaking the temporary neurological disruption caused by a chemical for a permanent evolution of the self. On his journey, Ram Dass encountered Neem Karoli Baba. As a boy, Neem Karoli Baba had been married off at age 11, but he immediately abandoned his wealthy home to wander as an ascetic, only to be recognized years later as a profound mystic sitting in a rural village. Convinced he had the ultimate tool for higher consciousness, Ram Dass approached the old mystic. He boasted that he possessed the real stuff, pills that offered the bliss of heaven and the promise of immediate knowledge. Unfazed, Neem Karoli Baba asked to see what he was talking about. Ram Dass reached into his supply and handed over a massive handful of pure LSD, enough to last an average user weeks or months. This was a collision of the Western search for chemical shortcuts with an ancient Eastern tradition of internal mastery, forcing a question of where true spiritual power actually resides. Neem Karoli Baba looked at the pills, tossed the entire handful into his mouth, and swallowed them all at once. Ram Dass sat in paralyzed silence, watching the clock and waiting for the massive chemical overdose to take its inevitable toll. Minutes passed, then an hour. Neem Karoli Baba simply went back to his daily routine. He didn't hallucinate, he didn't stumble. He showed no physical or mental reaction to the drugs. The dose was staggering, yet it failed. His internal awareness was so deeply anchored that an overwhelming chemical disruption couldn't put a single scratch on his reality. According to the yogi and mystic Sadhguru, surviving a dose like that involves operating from a dimension of capability outside typical biology. Neem Karoli Baba was a highly accomplished tantric, someone who uses intense internal practices to master their own life energies. His internal energy architecture was developed to a point where foreign chemicals were neutralized upon entry. He didn't swallow the pills to show off. He did it to shatter Ram Dass's illusion, proving Ram Dass was wasting his life on a substance that offered no real spiritual progress. This demonstration framed true mastery as an advanced internal technology. Next to a liberated mind, external chemical shortcuts looked remarkably weak. Following the encounter, a humbled Ram Dass stopped chasing chemical highs and chose instead to simply sit quietly and absorb the presence of Neem Karoli Baba. Sadhguru points out a crucial detail here. Ram Dass didn't attain the status of a spiritual master through his own intense yogic practices, or sadhana. Instead, because he possessed a genuine, burning desire to learn, Neem Karoli Baba chose him as a vessel. He essentially used Ram Dass as a window to transmit Eastern spiritual dimensions back to a hungry American audience. A master can use a willing vessel to carry a message across the world, even if the student never reaches that level of mastery themselves. This uncompromising approach extended to everything Neem Karoli Baba taught, as his instructions bypassed the typical human urge to seek comfort and avoid pain. When an Indian devotee repeatedly complained about a life full of misery, he replied simply that he actually preferred suffering. To him, suffering was a tool to strip away distractions and drive a person closer to the divine. He took his view on earthly attachments to extreme lengths. He warned that craving even the taste of a mango at the moment of death guarantees you will be reborn as an insect. Clinging to the desire for a single extra breath is enough to force a human reincarnation. Neem Karoli Baba represented a state of total liberation, unaffected by lethal chemicals and detached from the basic human desires for joy and survival. He left behind a stark reminder of what freedom actually looks like.